Hello and welcome to the Indie Beginning Podcast, episode 30. It is our mission to bring authors and story lovers together through reviews, dialogue, and unique topic segments inspired by each week's featured story or author. Remember to rate and review the podcast after the show. Reviews are so important for the growth of any indie project. As always, I am sitting with my co-host Marie. We are about to discuss the novel Fossils by Robert A. Webster. About three geriatric rockers who are on a roller coaster adventure as they flee to several countries in Southeast Asia to elude adoring fans and escape harassment from the news media along with a major record company. If you missed our introduction to the story, head back to episode 29. But if you're here just for the discussion, here we go. What did you think about the story, Marie?
I thought it was adorable. I loved the verbiage. I loved the way he described things. I love it. It was just adorable.
I couldn't even read the damn thing because I kept laughing. This man, Robert A. Webster, he's a funny guy. We haven't personally met him, but I could already tell he's pretty funny. I love any story where they take older people and either make them young or show that life isn't over after 40, thank God, because we're almost there. So, and I know that's still 40 years away from the characters in this book, but you know, old age and aging, it's such an important topic, and to make it fun and funny, I was happy that I was able to read this. Mm-hmm. So let's go into reviews. First, I don't know why you named yourself this, but question mark, was I thinking? He said, Fossils was a fun read and very informative about Southeast Asian history and landmarks. You could tell Robert A. Webster loves living in that area of the world. Each character is well defined and realistic. Getting to know the old men as well as the secondary characters was entertaining. She brings up that this book includes British spelling conventions and slang, adult situations and language, including several F-bombs. And I know I've just made it sound like that's what she wrote, but that was me saying that. And she also says, I did come across a small number of proofing issues that included extra words, missing words, and wrong words. Now, as always, every book, even my favorite books by completely edited authors, they have misspellings, extra words, wrong words. And it is to be expected. And I know some people say that it shouldn't be expected, but it is to be expected in indie novels. Mm-hmm. You know.
Oh, in any novel. I mean, Douglas Adams has some of the greatest spelling mistakes ever in his Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
So, I mean, it comes with it. I expect it. It doesn't throw me off. A story is a story. I can look past it. Your turn.
Colin says, with unique and somewhat quirky language, Webster provides us with a compelling tale of the international rock and roll scene. The descriptions are vivid and real, and the story is direct and engaging. A very interesting read. Recommended.
I recommend it as well. Robert said, hilarious and sometimes touching tale of four old musicians discovering a new way of life. Had me in stitches. A tale that everyone with a sense of humor will absolutely love. Read a lot of work by this author, and he never fails to deliver an entertaining or original read.
And Jerry says it's hilarious, had me in hysterics.
So we spoke to the author, and one of the themes right from the first review was about how it references a lot of Southeast Asia. And it ends up Robert A. Webster is from that area of the world. So we thought it would be nice to talk to him about how much living in that area has influenced his writing and how he writes. And we were unable to do an audio interview, so we will be reading the questions and answers ourselves. So anytime you hear me speaking, that is Robert's answer.
How much influence has living in Cambodia had on your writing? What has had the most influence?
Living in Cambodia and Southeast Asia has been a great influence on my life and storytelling. All my characters are based on people I met here who are real characters with real great stories to tell. The story ideas are all the same and taken from small, calamitous, and hilarious events, which I expanded into stories. Living in such an easygoing country with an easygoing and gentle people gives me inspiration, and with new events happening regularly, so I am never short of ideas. I like the fact that he brings up how easygoing it is over there.
Mhm.
And I think that kind of does show in his writing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can't be that hilarious and have like such a stressful life.
No, it wouldn't come off the way that it did. Humor
No.
is often found in ease.
Yeah, and humor is like, it's so important. Everybody just needs to laugh and smile. If I can give one bit of advice in this episode, just take a couple minutes every day and find something to laugh about. I guarantee in a couple of weeks you do that every day, you'll feel better.
Right. Are there any drawbacks to being an author in Southeast Asia? What are the major differences between there and Cleethorpes?
I have found no drawbacks writing in Southeast Asia. In fact, it is probably easier with the cost of everything, printing, computers, etc., being a lot cheaper. With internet and information being available, I don't think it matters nowadays where you are from, except Cleethorpes, haha. I never wrote in Cleethorpes or the UK. I didn't start writing until after a few years of living on the island of Thailand. I had to catch a ferry to the mainland for the shops, which took about 40 minutes. And to alleviate the boredom, I wrote a story.
Is there anything that is just more difficult to accomplish? For example, we recently introduced authors to a book written by Aliou Bandou from Sierra Leone, and he had to travel to and wait for internet cafes to open just to send audio files.
I find nothing difficult to accomplish. I could do anything on my old laptop, and once written and edited, I just put it through Amazon, D2D, etc. The only difficulty is for my poor old wife who runs around making me coffee and emptying my ashtray. Bless her. My old comfortable armchair takes a bit of pasting as my butt crease makes it groan. And I have recovered it 3 times in the past 2 years.
I have read that your stories have been well received in Asia. Have you had to translate your stories?
My stories have been well received amongst expats and tourists. I used to own resorts and sell them. I think he means he owns resort. He used to own resorts and sell the books there. It felt good watching people read them and chuckle in parts. I am in the process of getting one book, Path, translated into Spanish. I think sometimes translating a comedy novel or any novel translated is difficult. The colloquialisms don't sound the same and some lines can be misinterpreted. But I hope and think this book will be fine, as it is a paranormal adventure.
Do you think that Asia, Southeast Asia in particular, is undermarketed in the writing field?
I think Southeast Asian books will become more popular with the mainstream, with new movies released about stories from this part of the world. Killing Fields made a great movie in the 80s, and with the release of Angelina Jolie's movie, First They Killed My Father, set not far from where I live, I think there will be more exposure and call for books written here. I think the amount of popular foreign authors living here has increased dramatically over the years. The world is better connected nowadays.
If you could go back and tell your early writing self one thing about being an author, what would that be?
Keep having fun. Keep enjoying life's adventures, and keep doing what you started to love. Don't get bogged down in the critiques and reviews. They are unnecessary, and take your eye off the ball. Write because you want to. Write when you want to. Don't worry about making money. I have done well in other businesses. Oh, and don't drink as much. You gave your older self diabetes, you get. This guy can't even answer interview questions without making me laugh. One of these days, I swear to God, and I hope we figure out how to do it, we need to get all the Indie Beginning family together, like all these authors. I want to meet every single one of them, including Robert, has just been amazing and just a complete joy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we have some friends for life. Personally, I really enjoyed this novel. I hope everybody out there listening really enjoys this novel. Marie, did you enjoy this novel?
A lot.
Yes. I'm going to go pick up some of Robert's other books too, because, I mean, just everybody laugh, enjoy what you're doing. And remember, Fossils is available on Amazon. Go get yourself a copy. That way you can get some laughing in as well. If you want to make sure it's the right book for you, listen to last week's episode. We read the first 4 chapters for you right there. You can learn more about Robert A. Webster on his site, stormwriter.weebly.com or buddhasauthor.com. Don't worry if you can't remember. I always add the links in the show notes. Remember to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast, as it helps us bring you the best possible show. Let us know your thoughts. Follow Indie Beginning on Facebook. Twitter, and on Instagram. Leave a comment on any of our posts. We will always reply. This episode was brought to you by shirtsbysarah.com. Head there now to find a shirt that tells your story. Indie Beginning is an ACM Books production. Learn more at acmbooks.com. All editing, writing, and production has been completed by myself. I am your host, Benjamin Franke,
And I am Marie Cameron Franke.
asking everyone to read more books
Be the best possible you.
and simply enjoy this wonderful life. Thanks for listening.
Can't believe you messed up your